500 people, they've got 1,200 there. And there's people getting pushed out early. And that's not resolving very well at all. This is nothing against our healthcare workers. This is just a simple numbers game. We need, for every 1,000 people that come here, we used to have 17 beds in our hospitals. Now we've got 2. And they say 4, but I'm happy with it 4. So we really need at least 8 or 10 hospital beds per 1,000 people. And if they bring in 10,000 a week, how many hospital beds? We'll work that out. But it's not just a few beds, it's whole hospitals. We need entire hospitals just here in South Australia, 2, at least 2 more. And by the time the government decide to build them and have them ready to operate, it's still not enough. You have to stop the inflow first and catch up. And that's just common sense. It's not racist. You know, I'm family of migrants. We're all family with some way or someone that came here at another time. And we're not racist. I don't like being called racist. I didn't like the Premier calling me a racist. I don't like Albo calling us a racist. I don't like the media calling us racist. I don't like any of that. What I want to see is us standing like this more often. And we're going to have to obviously put more work into getting the message out so that more people can come. Because I know that we represent 75% of Australians here. And that's not just us. That's migrants too. And you know, I tried to make this really united. I tried to make this really united, so I met with lots of smaller groups. And they're worried about being labelled racist. I said, just bloody come, mate. You know, just bloody come. Because I've met with them, they all agree with us. Where are they today? We can't change this country unless we stand up like this. This sends the message. It gets into the media. People start to talk about it. There's not another federal election for 2 years. If they keep bringing migrants at this level, what state will this country be in 2 years? What state? And it's not just the people that need a house. What about your kids? Can't they dream of home ownership? Can't they at least dream? You know, anyway, I could talk for hours about all this, but we're not just going to talk about this today. There's a few other topics we'll touch on. Ways of fixing democracy, for instance. Not so hard, we just got to all vote differently. And vote informally. You need to know who's running. You know, every election I've met some hell of good people who have run. They haven't been elected very often, but there is good people out there carefully who run. And then of course there's net zero. Now how about kicking people while they're down? I don't know, there's a few people think it's just net zero. I'm not going to pay out whether you believe in carbon dioxide changing the world while you stand on these carbon dioxide storage devices. I'm giving you shade today. But I just want to say, it's not just the cost of it, it's not just the cost of your power. It's shipping, it's transport, every single aspect of your life is getting expensive. I've run a business. For 30 years I struggle to meet the bills now and I don't even have a mortgage. Can you imagine having a mortgage and having to pay those sorts of costs? Can you imagine people out there that can't put the heater on in the winter or can't, you know, this country's heading in the wrong direction. We own this place. The politicians seem to think that they own this country and they seem to think that we don't know what's best for it and that they'll just run however they feel. We know what's best. We live in a society that's resulting from their decision making. And it needs to change. So, come on guys, spread the word. Let's make sure that if we have to do this again, then there's other things we can do as well. Okay, we're not talking about violence, I'm talking about if they will not listen to us, we as the people of Australia will shut this place down very, very easily. So give some thought to that because I'm going to give you some ideas about that in the future. So let's get someone else on that chat. Thank you. Now, one of our guys has had a family issue, so we've got someone else to read his speech. He's going to try and read it really fast so we can catch it on.
This is reading from Mark Nugabarra. I'm a committee member and South Australian coordinator for Australian better government. Immigration sustainability has become a major topic in Australia today. Many Australians are raising concerns about whether current levels can be responsibly managed, and too often those concerns are dismissed or unfairly labelled as racist. But raising questions about the well-being of your country is not racism, it's responsibility. I'd like to share some personal background that shaped my understanding of these issues. I was born here in Australia 54 years ago to German parents who migrated in the 1960s. Both of my grandfathers served as ordinary infantrymen in the Second World War. Growing up in the 1980s, I faced hostility simply because of my heritage, and years later, my own son experienced the same. I share this because I know what it feels like to be the child of migrants and be challenged for a history I did not create. So I know how important it is to judge people by their character, not by their ancestry. Over the years, I've watched with concern as divisions in our society seem to be deepening, whether along lines of race, religion, values or politics. And too often, it feels as though there are forces here and abroad that benefit when Australians are divided and disempowered. At times, some of our leaders, whether intentional or not, contribute to that division also. Despite these challenges, I love this nation deeply. I am grateful for Australia's Aboriginal heritage and for the contributions of every single nationality that has helped build the country we share today. We are not racists, you or I. We are Australians who care about our future, and we are right to ask whether current immigration policies are sustainable, responsible, and in the best interests of the people who already call this country home. Right now, many feel that government policy is steering us towards outcomes that strain services, undermine community stability, and weaken our ability to shape our own future. Australians for Better Government believes that no government should be able to make major decisions affecting the nature of the nation without the clear consent of the people. My message is simple. We must restore power to the people. We can have differences. Any free society should. But our strength comes from working together to protect our freedoms, our standard of living, and our shared values. One of the core principles of Australians for Better Government is that people should have the final say on decisions of national importance. That means stronger transparency, stronger accountability, and mechanisms that allow bad legislation to be challenged, amended, or removed. In my opinion, anyone running as a candidate for the March 2026 state election, I believe that it should not be the politicians or bureaucrats alone who decide major issues. The people should have the ability to initiate a public vote on matters such as immigration levels, planning, energy policy, and government overreach. This is the most peaceful, democratic, and fair way to ensure Australia's future is shaped by those who live here. I believe change is coming, and together we can help ensure that change leads to a freer, more accountable and more united Australia. I will continue working with South Australians who want to restore confidence in our institutions, strengthen our democracy and protect the freedoms enshrined in the Constitution, even if that means strengthening the Constitution to meet today's challenges. A better future isn't promised, it's built. And our future works best when we shape it together. If you'd like to learn more about Australians for Better Government, please feel free to contact us by scanning a QR code. Thank you for listening. God bless South Australia. God bless Australia.
Hello everybody. Just wanted to say thank you very much for coming out today. I appreciate you guys giving up your Sunday to be here and speak on this most important issue. Alright. I want to acknowledge the effort that Mark's put in, guys. It takes a lot of logistics and organising to bring something like this together. Thank you very much to Mark and his supporters, and thank you very much to Mark. It would be remiss not to mention Safe Bowls. Thank you very much for keeping us say, got him out of guys to walk. So, look, thank you very much, guys. I see multiple generations of Australians here today. I'm a father of 3 young children. I'm a married man. I'm from Christie's Beach. So I've got skin in the game, guys. I can see all around us that the access to services, the access to housing, the energy pricing, the prices at the supermarket are continuing to climb, and there's absolutely no relief coming down that pipeline. So that's what's concerning. It's not a racist conversation to expect that the infrastructure capacity of your state would be higher than the amount of people that you're bringing into your state. That's just common sense, guys. We know we've got energy issues, we know we've got ramping issues, we know we've got housing availability issues, and we know that we've got immigration issues. It's not racist to demand that less than 400,000 people are brought into Australia every single year. It is not racist to demand that Australia's immigration rate would be lower than the UK's, lower than America's, lower than Canada's. There's no reason that our federal government should be running a rampant immigration policy into Australia. If we had an oversupply of access to services, if we had an oversupply of housing, it's a completely different game. But we've gone from 21 or 22 million people to 27 million people over a short amount of time, and the rest of us are being lied to when we're told that immigration is not the primary cause for that. All right? Another issue that people need to wake up to is the currency expansion and the spending of our government, guys. We had something like $1.3 trillion in circulation M3 in 2015. That's now over $3 trillion in circulation. When you have more monetary units in circulation, chasing a similar amount of goods, what happens is inflation. What we need to demand is government accountability. We should be expecting returns for every part of the taxpayer money that our government spends, not vanity projects with politicians going to Rio de Janeiro to win environmental climate standards. If you want to call it happening in South Australia, there are many economic drivers that we could be pushing in this state, not that economic vanity projects of left-wing Labor Party. I want to thank every single person for being out here today. Continue to demand privacy for yourselves online. The digital ID is complete government overreach. Parenting should be left to parents. It should not be done by the government. You should be deciding how much time your child spends on Facebook. You should be deciding how much time your child spends on YouTube. It's not conspiratorial to understand that controlling of the public discourse is made easier when the controlling of information is made by the government. It is not about protecting our children in any way, shape or form. It's about protecting their ability to craft a narrative. Continue to demand privacy. Continue to demand appropriate government spending. The energy per kilowatt price that we're paying in Australia and in South Australia, when we have one of the strongest resource bases in the world, is internationally embarrassing. The uranium ban that we have nationally is internationally embarrassing. We're the only G7 nation that doesn't have a national uranium industry. We don't need to necessarily generate our electricity with uranium, but we absolutely should be selling it to those nations who are already doing it overseas, all right? Demand accountability, demand real economic growth, demand privacy, continue to fight for your families, support people like Mark, support the other people that are involved, support the other organisations that are seeking to achieve the same things. As it's been said, we have a state election in South Australia in 2026. It's your opportunity to send a message to both Mr Malinauskas and Mr Tarzia that they do not represent the majority of the votership in South Australia. They damn sure don't represent me and my family at Christie's Beach. My interests are not their interests, and that is very clear from the things that they speak about and what they do. Continue to fight for your country, guys. Australia is something that we should be very, very proud of. God bless you all right?
Yeah! Bloody bastard, make me look bad. Hey, good speech, wow. We lost a couple of speakers along the way, there's still speakers to come. But I want to get someone up here. Now, this is a mate of mine. How I know this bloke is that when there's been fires and floods, if you don't know me very well, I get out there and help, right? And I make sure that the people that are displaced to their homes have a caravan or something to live in. We make sure that animals are fed. We do all that type of stuff. And this guy has been back in these rallies, and that's just cost him his job. And I think you might want to hear about it. So come up here and tell him about it.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, for all you do. Ladies and gents, you've got to speak up. The reason why the numbers are probably back is because sometimes some of us as Aussies are actually worried about offending some of your friends who may not vote like the way that you want to as well, the way that you see this country. So I suppose today what I want to say is well done to all of you for actually being here today, and not be afraid. We should be able to speak up for what we believe in this country. So good on the Aussies that are standing up today. It's very hard for us because as a real estate agent who works for one of the major brands, if not the major brand in Australia, you know, you guys worry about us selling houses to immigrants and stuff like that. If people are already here in this country, they want to try and buy a house, I'm going to help them because our vendors want us to sell for the best that we can. But ideally, we can't be complaining on one foot that the property's going up in value, then it's feel about our kids not being able to buy a house. My thing today is I want to try and help everyone that's here, but ideally, because I don't like this government, because the way that I want to speak out about, obviously, that we help people move house, but ideally if there was less people here, the prices wouldn't go so much. We just want to ideally be the best that we can for our country, and if someone could tell me why we need all these people here, then I'd just like to know. I think everybody needs to know why they want so many people here. Why? Why are we going to... I'm in a current thing for the Teaching Valley Council at the moment. They want more than double by 2050 in the housing. Our streets are shit like they are with cars on them and stuff like that. We don't want to ever change our country for the worse in terms of the housing. So ladies and gents, basically for me, I'm speaking up because I've also been booted from my brand. I had to start another company because of my voice and stuff like online, but I don't care. I'm all for you guys and for Australia moving forward, and let's cut this massive amount of people that are coming here. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I do think as well not to the last speaker, but I do think finally, in terms of net zero, I think that finally has been squashed the last couple of days. I just heard before as well. That's a stupid thing as well. It's wasting money there. And either way, well done to Mark for everything you do. What I'm trying to say, everyone speak up, don't be afraid to speak your mind. Well done for coming out today. Thank you.
I've had a young lad approach me here, he wants to speak for a minute. What do you think? Should we give him a shot? He wants to talk about net zero. And I think he should. And, you know, I'm an environmentalist and I love the environment, and I'm seeing him bulldozing the environment to somehow save the planet. And I could talk figures and facts, but if you want to know Australia's contribution to CO2 in the atmosphere, and they want to get net zero, I just want to say this, it's 0.00000012, which is 1.1% of the 3% that's man-made in the atmosphere, which is 0.04%. So if Australia sank into the ocean next week, the weather's not going to change. And I'm all for responsibly looking at methods to look after the environment long term, but rushing into something when the rest of the world's turning their back on it at the expense of industry and the expense of jobs and the expense of your cost of living seems a bit silly. Silly? Is that a good word?
Hello everyone. I'm a bit of a beginner to public speaking, so thanks for all coming out here today. I just wanted to say a few things. I've known what I've wanted to say for a very long time, and it's great to finally say it. So my name is Austin Both. I'm 20 years old on Tuesday, and I'm building my career in the transport industry, keeping Australia moving, currently as a truck driver. But that doesn't matter. I'm one of the countless voices of the youth who are not afraid to speak their minds. So before we get into it, I'd like to acknowledge the hard-working men and women who built this country and made it the great place it was today. Because 200 years ago, this city here wasn't even here. There were no ports, there were no factories, there were no industries, there was nothing. There wasn't even houses here. It was all just scrubland. And now look what we've built. We've built something so fantastic. And we've built a great country. But they want to take it from us. They want to sell it out to make as much money as possible, and all of these career politicians. So, more of my generation need to stop listening to the woke voices, because it's us young people who suffer. We can't dream of homes or jobs when they're selling it out to foreigners and silencing us by calling us racists. We're at a turning point right now. So, By showing up, we're making a change. When we did the last march, the counter-protesters were violent in Melbourne, and that made us look good. We just showed up and we did our thing and we said our opinion, and we didn't retaliate, we weren't violent. The police commissioner made them look bad. So by continuing to show up, we're doing the right thing here. So just keep showing up. It's so great that Mark's organised this for everyone here today. And net zero is just making everything so much harder for Australians. When the Labor Party introduced these fuel excises, who's taking your groceries around to your grocery stores? Is us truck drivers here. And we're getting taxed so much money. If we paid less tax, we would be a lot better off. You would be paying less for your groceries. But that can't happen because they want to make money. What do we think of that? So finally, I'd like to say the right is very divided in politics, and I think what should happen, because there's so many different parties, I think we just need to get our foot in the door. So I'm not a member for One Nation, I'm not a candidate, but I think we should all just vote for One Nation because they're at 18% right now. We get the foot in the door and then we can refine our policies once we've got our foot in the door. That's the most important thing. Don't let them take our dream away. I love this country. Thanks for coming here today, you mighty South Aussies.
Impressive job, young man. Plugging another political party. Didn't plug me. No, that's all right. More the merrier. We just need good people in. We just need good people elected. Look at the people. But that was a great job. Really good job. A couple of people asking to speak. We can handle another 5 minutes, can't we? You guys fine with that? Yeah, I don't normally do open mic because of what happened the first rally. It didn't work too well. Well, it wasn't really an open mic either. So could you come up, just finish the other speech on CIR, and then I've got someone else asked to speak for 5 minutes, and I'm going to make them do it for a minute. So you can't do a minute, really? All right, let's see how it goes. Love you all again. Vote for me one day.
I'm wearing a different hat this time. I'm part of the action group for direct democracy. Take a second and think of one social issue that concerns you. Probably a politician contributed to that through some legislation. Would you vote on that legislation if you had the chance? That's what we're aiming to do. That's what our website is about, telling you about our strategy to make that happen. I'm not normally pushy, but today I'll be different. While I'm talking, I want you to get out your phone, type in our website, directdemocracyau.com. Go to the registration page, put in your name, email address, your SA electoral district from the drop-down list, not your federal seat. If you don't know your state seat, put in the suburb. We'll put in your state seat. We want to group people by state seat. That will take 2 minutes. Do it now, please. I'll mention the website twice more for slow typers. People were taking the flyer home last speech, intending to do it and never got round to it. I spoke at a rally 7 weeks ago, and I checked this morning and one of our team had not filled it out. People are busy, I know. I emailed 20 of my friends who showed it, who know about the site. Most had shown interest, but only 2 had signed up. Then I was on the phone to a couple about something else, reminded them, and they did it immediately. You don't even have to read the website or watch the videos, just register. Then we can email you and tell you how you can help. You are at this rally because you are concerned about this political mess. It's only going to get worse. Our website is a solution, which no one else has thought of. In short, our model of direct democracy entails people have the opportunity to vote on each piece of legislation by SA Parliament before it goes to the Governor to become law. People can vote to approve or reject each bill. Voluntary voting by post. Before you worry thinking this will be a lot of work, I've thought of that. There'll be a government website where politicians can show their recommendation for each bill. If there's a politician you trust or a party you trust, you can follow their recommendation. Any politician can summarise their position, attach evidence to support their decision on the website. So you can read more if you want to. Before I explain more, our website is directdemocracyau.com. Go to the registration page please. If we get enough people to register, we'll put pressure on candidates to sign a pledge to support a bill to bring in direct democracy in South Australia. Our website will list those candidates who sign the pledge. If we have thousands register, other candidates will be under pressure to sign the pledge also. I want a 50,000 minimum, but ideally 100,000. We're still figuring out how to achieve that, but first step is to register. Go to the website now, directdemocracyau.com. Thank you.
We've been doing it a certain way for a long time, and it's not working out too well for us, so anything we can do that's different's great. But as I said, it's a people thing. It's the people that, you know, democracy started very similar to what we're doing today. It's when a community got together, people got up on a soapbox, told you what they stood for and you knew who they were, and didn't do a very good job, you kicked them out. But now it's become party politics, and the parties do what those that sponsor the parties want them to do, so they're no longer effectively representing you. So it's always going to be about people, my friends. It's always about the person you know, the people you know from your community that you should get out and support, because it's really, really hard, I can tell you from 25 years experience, to run against the major parties with a media that is leaning their way most of the time. I'm going to give you a shot, but you're going to try and keep it less than 5 minutes, and then we're nearly going to finish up, because we don't need to be here all day. We know why we're here. We're here to be... Now, one thing I want you to do is walking up, can you just turn around to the people next to you and just thank them, because this is, they're your people. And it's so important that we thank and give them a hug. No touching inappropriately. Thank you. Come on, mate. There you go.
Thanks for coming today. It's good to see so many smiling faces. We're here today to protest and let the government know that we are not happy with them and that they are out of touch with reality. They live in their ivory towers and on that granite castle on the hill, and they make rules for us to live by and then exempt themselves and their agents. This is not only hypocrisy, it is tyranny. In Australia, we are overtaxed, overgoverned and overlawed. Every day our civil liberties get whittled away. Our hard-fought rights and freedoms are at risk and will disappear if we allow them to control us with digital ID and the cashless society. These things we must resist with every fibre of our being. But this rally is protesting against immigration. But it's not really protesting against immigration, but the indiscriminate importation of so many people with no regard to the consequences or the effects on us already here.
Yeah.
They bring in something like 1,500 people a day. That's too many, and it must stop, because it's not sustainable. Australia has enough people. What it doesn't have is enough housing. We don't have enough hospital beds, and we don't have enough jobs. Three crucial parts of our lives are home, health and employment. We must stop immigration now and allow the infrastructure to catch up with the expanding population. I remember Albo saying something about a big Australia. Australia is big enough. We import too many people to this country. They, whoever they are, say that Australia was born on the sheep's back. That's farming. Our farmers and our farming families are also something we need to protect. They feed this nation of ours, and without them we will all starve. Australia was also born on the immigrants' back. A lot of us are immigrants. I am. In the old days, not that long ago, for every immigrant family that came to this country, that family would need a house, it would need a fridge, it would need all the essentials to fill that house. It would need a motor car. And this would stimulate the Australian economy by providing jobs for those already here. Because all those things are no longer manufactured here, in this country. This is no longer the case. So the old immigration policy doesn't work anymore. The problem is that our manufacturing has all gone overseas. And it's all been shipped offshore to places where people work for pittance like slaves. So to maximise the profits for the slave masters. In comparison, next to nothing is manufactured here. We need to change that. We need to buy Australian products that are made in Australia and, most importantly, owned by Australian companies. People, we need to do our homework. Pick the branded product that's Australian made, Australian grown, and, like I said, most importantly, Australian owned. That will help our country enormously. The people that come to this country may take a few jobs. They may take jobs that a lot of us don't want to do. Maybe they work for next to nothing because that's what they're used to. And they run the risk of being exploited. Or they end up at Centrelink where they become a drain on our welfare system. They have never paid any tax in this country and they are already taking from it. This has to stop. You can't blame people for wanting to come here and get away from the shithole they were living in. Everyone deserves the right to a decent life and self-determination, but the problem seems to be that increasing population is forcing up our cost of living. Demand is outstripping supply. It's not the people's fault, it's the fault of the ones that pretend to govern us. The problem is there is not enough employment to sustain this. The cost of living in this country has gone through the roof, and part of that is the cost of housing. The cost of housing has more than doubled in the last few years, putting the dream of owning our own home out of the reach of many ordinary Australians, forcing them to rent for longer. The queues for renting a house are around the block. There is so many that need somewhere to live, and unfortunately many can no longer afford it, and the camps of the homeless people are getting larger and larger, so much so that the authorities can no longer hide it. For years, they've been hiding it and pushing them to the extremities of parks and on the fringes of the cities into the bush. These people, you see them living in the parklands. You see them living on the linear parks, along the river, along the train lines. It was never this bad in Australia, but it is now, and it's getting worse. There is not enough housing in Australia for people that are here, let alone the 1,500 that arrive every day. The other problem is healthcare. We used to have one of the best healthcare systems in the world. In the world, people, with Medicare. And don't get me wrong, it's still good, but it's under immense strain and the waiting lists are unacceptable. People are waiting for operations and procedures for years. Some of them will die before their name gets to the top of the waiting list. This is not acceptable. Some people needing emergency attention from an ambulance and paramedics die because the ambulance is still ramped with the last person. They still can't get into a hospital because there's not enough beds, and that's not acceptable either. We recently opened a new hospital in this town, and guess what? It has less beds than the old one. There was no future-proofing done. Yes, they should have opened the new hospital, but they should have also kept the old hospital, and then we might have enough beds. So in conclusion, immigration must stop until we have addressed at least the three core issues of health, housing and employment. Many ordinary Australians are at the end of their tether. They are treading water and many are going under. We must put our message across. Please keep it peaceful today. Don't let them divide us, because only together can we achieve anything. We must be united together. We must make a stand for a better Australia. We cannot let this continue or get worse. Thank you for coming today. Thank you, Mark.
We all know, don't we? Everybody knows. Everybody knows. And this has been a great day, and I'm really happy with those that have turned up. I know we'd all like to see 3 times the numbers, so next time we do this, you have to help a little bit. Please get out there, get your friends to come along. This is a good day. This is a great day, because you feel like other people have the same problems as you. You can see people that care for this country as much as I do. I don't think there's much else to say to you all. The biggest problem I think we have is that politicians look at the term between elections. So they promise you a whole lot of stuff, they won't give it to you, they do whatever the hell they like, and then 3 months out of the next election they make you a whole heap of promises. We need politicians that look 20, 30, 40 years ahead and start planning for our children. And they've got to put our children first. Now, there's a poem, someone's going to read you a quick poem. We're going to finish on the poem. I just want to thank you all for coming. And I'll give myself one plug. I've run quite a few elections for 25 years. I've run parties, I've been a director of national parties, and I've got United Voice Australia, which is a small party, and we're hoping to get some voice in the upper house as well. So give us a consideration. The main thing is that you consider and support and vote for anybody but the major parties right now. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Olga. I have been Australian now for 43 years and proud, and hope to be proud. 2 days ago I birthed a poem, and here it is. Stand up for the land that feeds you. Stand up for the children that need you. Stand up for freedoms that you gave away. And most of all, stand strong and tall to guard your soul.
All right, thank you guys. We'll put on a bit of music in a second so you can all chat, do a bit of networking. Thank you to everybody for coming. Absolutely fantastic day. And there was a couple of other messages that didn't get through clearly. One is digital ID. Obviously, we don't want digital ID. I would like to have covered that more. The person that was going to do it didn't come, sorry. The other thing is too, someone mentioned buying Australian. We have to do that. I ran a campaign called Put Your Money in the Right Pockets, and I've run that campaign for 14 years, and I run markets. So if you ever get down Salisbury Way, come along to my market and buy straight from the farmers. Buy straight from the producers. Back them up. When you go to the shops, look and see if it's Australian made. We've got to do whatever we can right now to make things better. Thank you so much. Let's have some music. Thank you.